Hello and welcome to this week's episode. I'm rejoined by Mark Phipps, who is an author, avid traveller and owner of Lost in Paradise Travel. Mark comes on to talk about his amazing new product, which we talk about at the end of the show, and I was shocked and surprised at how good this thing is, so stay tuned for that. And in between, we are going to discuss Mark's travels to Mongolia. He recently dipped into the country for 10 to 12 days on his own, no tour group, so a lot of travel content coming your way, logistics, stories, and the best things that he saw on his trip there. And trust me, it's well worth listening to, and it should whet the appetite if you have any ambitions of traveling to Mongolia. I certainly do. And then we delve into his road trip in Namibia, Botswana and Zimbabwe a few years back with his friends. Again, logistics involved in that. Lots of chat about the amazing sights and sounds of the jungle, the desert, and anything else in between. And of course, the wildlife he saw was absolutely spectacular. It's great to see Mark again. I last interviewed him when I was in Turkey, in Istanbul, back in 2023. I was on my year trip. So good to catch up. A great talker, a great storyteller, and lots of wanderlust coming your way to get you to book that trip. And of course, you might even want to buy one of his products, but I'll save the details until the episode. Finally, before we delve in, please rate and review the podcast on your podcast app, Apple, Spotify, and any other apps that you use. 5 stars is greatly appreciated. And if you're on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. And this really does help the podcast gain a bit of traction on the algorithm and in YouTube. If you'd like to travel with me to El Salvador, you can head to the show notes and hit the link there. All the details are there. We have 12 spots coming up. The first 6 get a discount, and that is in November next year. Lots of plans, views, coffees, local people, buses, the whole lot. It's going to be a sensational trip, so make sure you book in for that. Tell your friends about Winging It. That is the best way to spread the word of the podcast, still is. So if they like the content, they'll come back and listen for more. Got loads coming in 2026. Finally, if you want to support the production of this podcast by buying me a coffee for $5, you can head to buymeacoffee.com/winging it. That is greatly appreciated too. Right, enough of me rambling. Let's get stuck into Mark's episode and let's go into the world of Mongolia. Mark, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Very well, mate. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's good to be back.
Great to see you. Last time I saw you, I was in Turkey, in Istanbul.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That's where I recorded you, yeah.
Wow. I can't even remember where I was. I think I was in Copenhagen, actually. I think I was down in the islands.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. 2023 March time. April, March.
Yeah, sounds about right. I think that was a slightly quieter year, so I was a bit more based on the island, in one place for a little bit. So, but yeah, you catch me still in Thailand, just in Bangkok this time.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about since then, 2023. You've been busy, but how's Thailand going? Is it still home?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Copenhagen, Thailand has really started to feel like home the last couple of years. Yeah, I always used to think, oh, it was my job that kind of took me there, and that's why I was there. But I think I see it much more than that now. Like, really good base. Yeah, it's just a great place to be. So it definitely feels like home, which is strange because you would ask me 10 years ago, would I still be here? No, I don't think so. I think I'll probably move back home. I would have moved on by then, but it still is a great base for me to be, and just a healthy place in every sense of the word. Really, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, if people want a bit of context, actually, I read Mark's book, One Way Ticket, a couple of years ago now. So I have a bit of context of his travel journey, if you like. So if people want to hear about that, they can tune into the first episode, which was a few years ago now, in 2023, for a bit more history and context. But right now, 2 years later, we're going to talk about a couple of things. Mongolia, you've been there recently. We're going to talk about a road trip in Africa with Namibia and Botswana. And then we're going to talk about Lost in Paradise, your new product or company, which wasn't around last time I spoke to you, so that's new for me. So let's dive into Mongolia. I've been following your social medias, and it seemed wild. Is that the best way to describe it?
Mongolia. I mean, before I even got to Mongolia, generally when everyone was sort of asking, where's the next trip or where you going? I'd say Mongolia. The general question is why. Everyone's just like, what?
Yes.
Like, why are you doing it? What's there? What's the draw? What do you want to see? And just generally why? Like, why can't you just take a normal holiday like everybody else and go to do something regular? And I'm just like, look, I do like, I will admit, I like the surprise on people's faces a little bit when they're like, what? and they just
Yeah.
you want to go somewhere different. But I do look for those things in trips as well. Like I am like as we sort of touched on, I'm blessed and lucky enough to do the island life and beach stuff quite a
Yeah.
lot. So I'm generally looking for something a bit different, and it's certainly delivered on that. It was very very much a different place to go. But pretty much going into the peak of winter as well, so it's not a warm place to
Wow.
be. Um, whatsoever, and kind of outside of like the general tourism season there as well. So,
Hmm.
um, so yeah, from the moment I turned up at the airport, I'd actually come in from, I flew in from South Korea, and generally when I fly, I like to travel quite comfortably. So I rock up wearing flip flops to the airport, and I'm standing at the luggage belt in flip flops, and I had no less than three people come up to me and remind me that it's -8 outside. So yeah, from the beginning, I was kind of turning heads.
Well, that kind of leads me nicely into the next question about planning. Um, how did you go about planning the trip? Was it with a tour company on by yourself, or and
um,
first of all, with one of those, I mean, what are we talking? Are we talking like independent travel here, or even if you go by yourself, do you have to book some tour because it's hard to get around? Like, what was the planning phase like?
Mm. I mean, James, yeah, you've known me a little bit now. You probably know I don't plan too much,
Yeah.
if at all. But it was one of those places that it is so big, it is so vast. You do have to do a bit of forward planning. Travel there isn't particularly easy in that, like, flights are maybe only every couple of days to even get there.
Hmm.
Um, Depending on where you're coming from. Internal flights are like few and far between. A lot of them go back through the capital, so you do spend a bit of time going back traveling on yourself. But majority of it is kind of like overland travel. So I knew there was one main thing. There's one thing that I wanted to do and go and see there, which was go and visit the Sartan people, the Dukha people up in the north. So that
Okay.
was kind of my goal. And for anyone that's unaware, they're the last remaining sort of reindeer herders tribes that really still
Uh,
do live up there, and that's what they do. So it's very much kind of like off the beaten track. I mean, where we were was 65 kilometers from the border of Russia. So you've
mm,
actually got to apply for a special permit to get up there, and it's like an extension of Siberia. The wilderness you're in is known as the extension of Siberia. So to get there, you do have to travel and plan ahead. So yeah, I generally when I do travel, I like to do things quite independently. I had made contact with a couple of guest houses that were in that region to help me organize a bit of travel there. And for me, that really is the best and maybe one of the only ways to do it. Is quite like individual travel, especially this time of year when there's not a lot of other people doing it. Um, you do end up like probably doing things quite very much like independently and by yourself. The few times I did bump into another traveler or tourist, we were kind of just as surprised to see each other as the
yeah.
other one. We kind of look at each other like, "What are you doing here?" And they're like, "What are you doing here?" So yeah, I made contact with a few guest houses from a small town called Moron, which is a 12-hour bus journey to get up there. And then the lady there helped me organize quite a lot of quite a lot of the things that I wanted to do, and made contact with some of the tribes because, as you can imagine, they don't really have phone signal. They just have like one
Yeah.
satellite phone that they might turn on every now and then. So and they really speak no English. So you should spend a bit of time and do a bit of research into trying to find a good guest house that will work locally with the tribes. I'm all about sort of making sure the money you give and goes back to the right places as well. So the first 5-6 days of the trip, I did have someone sort of helping me organize it, but generally I was very much by myself.
So I guess you fly into Ulaanbaatar, kind of base yourself there for a few days to acclimatize, I guess, and then start to plan your trip. If people are looking to go west, east, north, south, whatever, and
Yeah,
then yeah, so you're contacting guest houses. It's such a unique and almost an old school way of traveling, isn't it? It is
yeah.
almost like maybe back in the day what it's like for most places, but now this is one of the very few where you can maybe rock up and you might have to speak to someone to arrange something, right? It's quite a unique thing nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it felt nice. It was a very refreshing kind of way to
Yeah.
do it. And yeah, to get up there is kind of like, well, there might be a bus going this day. You might just have to wait and see. So yeah, if you're a big fan of like a structured trip, you're gonna have to be a little bit more flexible to try and work with that because things kind of happen when they happen.
A couple of admin questions. What's the language they speak? I'm guessing Russian, but I could be wrong. And also with the currency, because I guess you got to pay in local currency to get these buses. So what was that currency as well?
Yeah, so I was surprised as well, actually, because when I got at the airport, the guy just said Russian, Russian. But no, I did speak. They all speak Mongolian,
Oh, okay.
in their own language, yeah, which I was not
Yeah.
aware of, and I thought there must be a lot of people speaking Russian, but everyone I spoke to was generally, yeah, just Mongolian. And
Oh,
then the currency, Tigrit, it's a phrase, it's a one that you don't hear a lot.
no.
It's a yeah, generally, if you're paying for something like in your trip, everyone is talking in US dollars.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
um, so yeah, paying for bus tickets was a bit difficult. The systems there are pretty old school. Even when I tried to book an internal flight, they send the airline sends you their bank details and you transfer the money
Oh,
like
wow.
an
Okay.
old school bank transfer,
Yeah.
which this seems a bit shady. And then the same as the buses, but again, luckily, through the hostel we stayed at in Ulaanbaatar, the the person I was texting back and forth, I was like, look, I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me? And she just booked it, paid for it out of her own money, and just said, just pay me back when you get here, no worries.
Oh,
So,
great. That's amazing.
that actually worked out, yeah, quite well. And the same for the second bus I booked. They were kind enough to just do it with the local currency. Other than that, I did generally use Wise, if you know, like the
Yeah.
Wise a travel board, and then I was
Yeah.
just transferring money to pay people with that, and that generally worked pretty well.
Great. I'm going to go straight into the travel aspect of the bus. I jokingly said in this podcast that there should be a podcast about bus rides around the world
Yeah.
because they're so epic, right? What is the roads like in Mongolia, and is it as comfortable or as bad as you think?
I thought my days of 12-hour overnight buses were behind me. I did. I've done Southeast Asia, I've done Australia, and I really thought I'd left those days behind me.
Yeah.
I haven't. It turns out I had not. So, yeah, no, you got to travel a lot, and the buses really are the best way to do it. Um, I learned the hard way, and some tips that I'll share along the way. Yeah, buses in Mongolia, especially overnight, they are warm on the bus, but because it's like -8 outside, don't book yourself a window seat because if you lean up against it
Uh,
with your hoodie will freeze.
yeah.
Where I had it up against it with the condensation and it was so cold, I could have snapped my hoodie in half.
Yeah.
But generally, okay, like the main roads you're taking. So where I went from Ulaanbaatar, the capital, to Moron, 12 hours overnight. So 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. And you know what? Credit where credit's due. It left bang on 9 o'clock and it arrived pretty much around 9 o'clock the next morning. So it was
Mm.
generally okay. They were generally pretty full, but of a pretty good quality. It was a VIP bus. I don't know what bit of it was VIP, but it was safe enough. The roads were decent, not super bumpy on these main roads, to get to sort of the main town of Moron. And yeah, when you get there, similar setup. There are people there, like taxi drivers, to take you off to
Yep.
your guest house or whatever you need. So, um, if you're not afraid of a 12-hour bus journey, then it's very manageable. I've certainly done a lot worse, and then did a lot worse after that. That was more the organized ticketed bus to get me to the main town. From there to get to Sagna, the next town I needed to get to, that's a different story.
Okay. Let's start with Moron. Tell us a bit about the vibe of this place, and also tell us your experience of going to see this tribe, the reindeer hunters.
Yeah, so Moran, so that's kind of like it was one, two, kind of a three-step journey to get me up to see the guys in the Reindeer Moron. I got off the bus 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. I went straight to the guest house, Sarah's guest house, it was called. At the time, she's renovating her actual guest house, so I literally just stayed in her apartment.
Okay.
And this is where I bumped into two other travelers that were they'd just done a trip and they were on their way back to Ulaanbaatar. We rocked up. She cooked me breakfast, and she said, "Oh, there's some kids coming in about an hour. 10 kids for an English lesson. Do you mind teaching English for a couple of hours?" I was like, "Sure." That's really, but I can do that. So yeah, we sort of taught me and the two travelers. We taught an impromptu 2-hour English lesson to these
Okay.
kids. And then she says, "Yeah, Sarah's just on the phone, on the phone, on the phone." She says, "Yo, I've got you a bus today. It leaves in an hour." Um, so I didn't see a huge amount of Moron that
Hmm.
day, but I did spend a bit of time there on the way back, which is quite nice. Not huge there. A friend of mine told me to watch the Top Gear. Well, no, the Grand Tour special when they
Oh
go to.
yeah,
So this is
yeah.
the town they end up in. That's where they
Ah,
drive,
okay.
which I didn't realize. So there's really not a huge amount there.
Mm.
It is one of those kind of. It's a town that I could only think of like when you go out of town, you know what out of town means because town just stops. It's town,
Okay.
and you can
Yeah.
look all the way along, and then there's just nothing,
Yeah.
which is really,
Gosh.
really kind of wild to see. But I took
Yeah.
a little walk around. There's not much to write home about in Moron, to be honest.
Okay.
It is just a bit of a stopping off point to go and get to where you're going really from there.
So then you're going on from there to go and see this tribe. Like this
Yeah.
sounds like a real incredible local authentic experience by the sounds of it.
Yeah, this is where things get a little spicy. So when we jump in the bus, it's me, one other traveler that's going up the same way, and then we get joined by a lovely Mongolian gentleman. And you kind of get put in these. They look like real just Soviet era 4x4 trucks. I think they are a bit more modern than that, but the style of them is that. So you
Mm.
kind of sat in the back, and there's two rows, one facing forward, one facing backwards. They're slightly lifted with like kind of big wheels on them. Um, and yeah, we left about 3 p.m. and it was an 8-9 hour journey. And this is where the roads are similar to what I think the rest of roads in Mongolia are like, pretty non-existent. It is dirt tracks.
Mm.
I'm generally a very adventurous person and I've done some road trips and I love road tripping. But I kind of did do some research and I just think that unless you're probably with someone that knows what they're doing, you're familiar with some 4x4 driving, you should be a confident driver if you're going to drive it yourself. If not, definitely get someone to organize you the transfer up there because you are going to be crossing rivers, frozen rivers. There is no like Google Maps doesn't work. You are just following tracks like
Yeah.
that kind of lead one way or another. There's no signpost, there's no nothing. These guys just know where they're going.
Yeah.
Um, and the roads are bumpy, like super bumpy. Like you are getting lifted off your seat, thrown around for 8 hours.
Mm.
So yeah, me, the one other guy, and the Mongolian guy that about 10 minutes into the journey whipped out a rather large bottle of vodka, and just started pounding it. Which was being quite funny, but he did end up getting, I mean, he drank the whole thing. And then getting pretty drunk. Like I've heard Mongolians enjoy a drink. My God, this guy
Yeah.
did. So yeah, he was pretty he was pretty merry by the time. No, didn't speak any English, but my God, didn't stop talking the whole time. Like just spat in Mongolian, which was kind of funny for the first 5 hours. But then, yeah, getting bumped around the rest of the trip. But he was a sweet guy. Yeah, we hugged it out at the end. But it is. I've never used the word arduous in my life, but an
Mm.
arduous journey is definitely what that was to get to the town of Sardana, which is a gorgeous lake, and that was kind of like the second leg of the journey, I suppose.
I guess you've got no choice though, have you? I mean, I imagine it's the only way to get there, right? I can't
Yeah,
imagine any
well,
other scenario.
that's really it. No, that's the only way to go, other than driving yourself. And it is
Mm.
just kind of like a shared van.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of nice about it. It's that old school community feel of
Mm.
well, no one's driving that day. Um, so no one's going, or if they are, then there's a community feel to it. Like before we actually left, when we got pulled out of the van and we were loading up double glazing windows onto the roof that clearly someone needed going up there. And we'd stop around town and just be picking stuff up from people that clearly need stuff transported. So that was really nice to kind of feel a bit of a part of that. And we were like helping load and unload the vans and stuff on because yeah, I guess it's just a shuttle service that when people go, they go, and when they don't, they don't.
And so, what was the next journey to get to your final destination?
So yeah, we made it there that evening, stayed at the guest house that night, and then I got picked up the next day back in the shuttle bus for about an hour. And then we got to pretty much as far north as we can go. And the next leg of the journey, the only way to make it really, or the way that we made it at least, was on the back of a reindeer. So that's
Oh,
what.
wow.
That's what the guys
Phew.
do. They herd reindeer with reindeer. That's the lifestyle. So you're very much immersed in that. Now I've ridden horses quite a
Yeah.
bit when I was younger, so I'm pretty confident to ride a similar animal. Yeah, there was three, one for my guide, that I met there. I kind of got dropped off, and that was it. One for the bags, and then one for me. So we jumped on the back of a reindeer and followed a stream for about an hour and a half up to the camp, and that's where we stayed for 2 nights.
What's the like living conditions here? Is it like a basic tent? Is it like sanitation? Is it quite basic as well? Like what's the go here with this whole camp?
Yeah, so we get there, and it's that they stay in traditional Gers,
Oh yeah.
which are designed to be put up and taken down quite quickly, quite easily. There's still a semi-nomadic tribe of
Hmm.
people and family of people, so they do move according to the season. The family I stayed with, they actually didn't move a lot. They only move well, twice a year, I suppose, for summer and for winter. But a
Hmm.
lot of other families will move multiple times. So you stay in the ger with them, and they did have another teepee set up outside for any travelers or visitors to come and stay with. For what I kind of understood, they will have other families because it is quite spread out. The family I was with was um, just a wife and husband, just the two of us and me. But I know that the wife's had a brother that lived about 2 hours away. So I guess sometimes they'll come,
Mm.
they'll stay, maybe stay the night if the conditions are too bad to go back. So yeah, the first night I was invited to stay in the ger with the family, and someone I've had no interaction with really because they don't speak any English.
Yep.
And you just hold up. It's a very family feel. Community. But yeah, it's a circular tent. Think very much just like a yurt would be, with a fire in the middle. And that's what they cook everything on. That's what the heat is from. Everything kind of comes from that with a very small door to go in and out. So stayed there the first night, and then actually stayed in the teepee the second night, which was much colder. You're very much just sleeping on the floor
Mm.
there. Hmm.
What sort of food are you eating for dinner and breakfast and stuff?
Um, w- it's because I mean they don't have a huge amount there, right? Like the
Yeah.
conditions to grow vegetables are pretty rough. Um, every dish that I had there was made up of generally the same ingredients. So it's going to be beef mostly, although I have
Oh,
heard from other friends, depending on what time of year, you might be having goat,
yeah.
and then where you are, where you're staying. But beef, it's going to be potato, a small amount of carrots, and then if you're lucky, some onion in there as well.
Okay.
And it was cooked up in a stew, and then with a variation of either maybe rice, pasta, or there's almost like this kind of like noodle, floury noodle that they put in. And that,
Hmm.
to be fair, was my favorite. That's a lot more filling. It has a lot more sort of hearty meal to it. But generally, every dish I had was a variation of that. And then for sort of maybe like a snack during the day, they're having homemade bread. Um, but yeah, very sort of basic, quite bland, just with a little bit of salt mixed in. So I pretty much had variations of that anywhere I went. Other than I was lucky enough to spend my birthday in Mongolia.
Okay.
So the guys that I'd moved on to the center by then, but they did do a special meal of horse for me. That's a
Oh,
delicacy there.
bit of horse. Do you remember back in the day when in UK people got a bit angry because the beef burgers had horse in them? Do you remember that? There's like a horse
I do
scandal.
vaguely remember. There was yeah, a rather large supermarket chain that I think
Yeah,
had
yeah,
we will not mention that had traces of like horse meat in it. We're
yeah,
like, oh, that's disgusting. And then there's me on my birthday, just like chomping.
yeah.
But that was good. That was nice. It was quite a special moment because they got it specially and they cooked it up into BUU. Z birds, and that's kind of like honestly not too dissimilar to like a Cornish pasty. To be honest, that was quite nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Huh,
it was good.
great. And for the few days there, what are you learning about the culture? Are you like learning how they live, how they work, how they spend their time? Is that more about I guess, like a real authentic local experience? Is that the point of the 2 days?
Yeah, it really is. You for anyone going there, like especially 'cause for myself, I did go by myself. So I stayed up for 2 nights. Now on the second night, I actually got quite lucky in that another tourist turned up. and she was traveling by herself, but she'd gone to the lengths of actually hiring a Mongolian guide, and she was traveling around Mongolia for like 4 weeks. So
Oh,
he
with a
was
guide. Huh.
with a
Wow.
guide.
Mm.
So he was Mongolian but spoke English. So after like a
Ah.
day of me kind of just having no communication with these people other than
Yeah.
just observing their daily life, which was amazing. To just be a fly on the wall, watch them bring the reindeer in and take them out, do daily chores. I really was just sort of sitting and watching. I could walk around the area, but there is nothing there. You are,
Mm.
wow, reindeer ride from the nearest town. Um, so it's probably about as authentic as you can get. But
Yeah.
I got to say, it was a surprise and quite nice when this other girl turned up, because I could then benefit from sort of from her guide, and we
Yeah.
could talk a lot with this person I'd spend 24 hours with to learn a little bit more about them. But
Mm.
yeah, it's very much just sitting, observing. We did help them kind of like herd the reindeer, and I'd put the tack on and off the reindeers a bit. At least I thought I was helping. They're probably like, oh, get out of the way.
Yeah.
We're doing it. So yeah, that turned out quite well. But no, just get you can get as involved or not involved as you would. Like go chop some wood, put the wood on the
Mhm.
fire, and just be a part of the daily life. Really, is what the experience was all about.
And what did you learn from that guide who turned up? Because I imagine you're probably hearing from him some information for the first time. Anything surprising or anything that you learned?
Yeah, I mean, I was quite interested to. I mean, I just couldn't wrap my head around the reindeer herding to begin with. I guess
Yeah.
I was like, why are they here? What do you do with them? Because I'd like everyone's first impression was like, well, do you eat them? And I'd done a bit of research, so I kind of knew that they don't, but they might do if a very old one does pass away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have some quite interesting conversations about the reindeer. They do see some of the reindeer almost as close as like family. They really do
Mhm.
look to the reindeer. They do have quite a spiritual connection to the reindeer. Some of the reindeer I found, depending on the reindeer's ancestors, they are actually quite a spiritual people up there.
Mhm.
The religion does change a little bit around Mongolia, but up in the north, there is generally shamanism. And what I found to be most interesting is, yeah, the lady that we would stay with, she kind of hinted at potentially being a shaman. Because there are shaman in the area, and she kind of dropped a few hints in that she might be. She said like, if I ever was, I'd never scream and shout about it. It's quite a spiritual thing to do, and she kind of did have this aura about her of like, I could see you
Mm.
being a shaman, which was really quite interesting as well. So yeah, just learning about the daily life, obviously learning about kind of a dying tradition of it. Like the
Mhm.
kids just don't really want to be involved anymore, and they'd rather be in town and do something a
Yeah.
little bit more modern.
Yeah.
So some of the families up there are supported by the government. I found was quite an interesting thing. Because yeah, I did find it to be quite contradictory what she was saying, not from what she said, but the government are taking quite a bit of land away from them, so there's less land for them to do this. But at the
Yeah.
same time, they're actually supporting some of the families financially to keep this tradition
Mm.
alive as well. So yeah, I was a bit like, well, what are you guys doing here? You're reducing their land, but you're paying them to keep doing this. So it is something that it's nice to keep that tradition alive and to be able to do that. So that was definitely quite interesting to learn about.
Yeah, I was then going to say the next thing about how do they survive, like financially in the modern world. I know, obviously, they're doing fine because it's their heritage and that's what they do. But in terms of the modern world with finance, like,
Mm.
are they poor? Are they not? Are they like where are they in society? Do you think?
It's yeah, kind of hard to say. I guess it's like when, and it could have been like a translation thing, but the guide that turned up and was speaking English, he did mention about the husband that he was going to go into town to trade. And now I thought
Oh,
that was amazing, because I was like,
yeah,
wow, if he's really going to like trade, like that's really old school. Like, and I
yeah,
know they do like they'll sell like little trinkets and stuff to tourists that come through and stay with them, but they're not making big money off that. It might
mm,
just a carving they made from the reindeer antlers, maybe from the hide and things like that. But I think they very much just live with what they have. I wouldn't imagine these guys to have um bank accounts or a huge amount to do with
Mm.
money. To be honest, what they need is probably what they have when they get there. Tourism definitely probably supplements it, and I'd say is probably one of the bigger parts of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people would go up there. I wouldn't say it's a huge amount, but that probably does help a lot more nowadays as well. But definitely not on the richer end of the scale. But
Mm.
for what they were saying, it's not what they're about anyway. They're very happy with a simple life.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression.
Mm,
Hence why there's no need. I guess they're not complaining about their kids, but they're probably a bit sad that their kids want to go and do something else, which is a bit of a shame, really. But I can understand
that's
in the
it.
modern world. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a shame.
yeah.
I do want to touch on the lady that turned up with the guide.
Mm.
Any intel on like how much would that be, for example, if you wanted to borrow a guide for like a week or two? Because that's pretty cool, isn't it? Because she gets to see all the country with some information. And I guess you don't speak Mongolian or Russian, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, what was the price on that? Any ideas on that?
So generally, everything that I kind of read or looked up, you're looking at around about for what, depending on what you want to do and where you want to go, general budget is going to be maybe like $100 a day, um,
Oh wow.
for the guide. So yeah, it's not the cheapest place to go and travel. Um,
Oh, huh.
when for the second part of my, especially because you got to think like you're not really getting much. I don't want to say you're not getting much value, but if you're like, oh, I want to do a skydive or a bungee jump, you can see where that money's going because you got to pay for
Mm,
stuff. Whereas you're
yeah.
like, well, I'm not really, there's no financial value to it, but that's just the general cost is about that, just to
Okay.
go to these places. But I'd say a lot of it goes on travel. Um, for the second part of my trip as well, when I did go to the north, sorry, to the center, with the same lady, Sarah, that booked my North trip. Her husband actually works as a guide for
Okay.
the center. So I arranged some stuff through them, and she was like, yeah, he'll come with you and arrange it, which again, like I said, I generally do like to travel very independently by myself. I'll rent a car and drive myself, but Mongolia is one of the ones I was like, no, I'm fine for someone to take me. So again, that was, yeah, I was around about $100 a day I paid. So I had him for, we did about a 5-day trip, paid $500, and he came along. And that was, yeah, transport. He arranged all the accommodation, would cook me food. Again, he didn't speak English, but his 16-year-old son came along. So it was me, Ikbay, and Gibba, just hanging out, and
Okay.
communicating through his son. So that was actually really quite nice. To have a better time there as well, and to actually have a guide for myself that I could ask a lot of questions to.
And what was the aim? What are you going to see in the center?
So the center, you got Karakum, which is actually, yeah, really, really cool. So that's pretty much the ancient capital of the world. It
Hmm.
was Genghis Khan's
Yeah.
capital city,
Mm.
and an incredible place to be. Something that I wasn't super excited about until I got there and learned about it, and I was like, wow, this is a really amazing piece of history to come and
History. Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big draw. I actually spent a long time walking around the museum and was kind of fascinated by it,
Yeah.
to be somewhere that really does hold a huge amount of city, because yeah, it was a very progressive city as well. Like it was very inclusive of a lot of different backgrounds and nationalities and religions, and it was cool to see something so ancient be so inclusive, and then see why it became so popular. So that was very cool. And then you've got, for anyone that doesn't have the time to go to the Gobi Desert in the south, they've got what they call the mini Gobi, which is a couple of hours west as well. So that was very cool. Big sand dunes. They've got the huge sort of Asian camels there as well, with the double hump, really shaggy fur. Um, and then Hustway National Park, which was incredible as well. That's where you can go and see, if you're lucky, some truly wild horses out in the wild.
Oh,
And just
wow.
like Mongolia is known for its steppes, not the steps you walk up, but the vast grassland plains. And really, if
Yeah.
you want to go see that, that's an incredible place to go and see. So yeah, they were probably the three highlights over the few days that we went to see, which was really cool. And then other than that, just enjoy the drive, really enjoy the surroundings.
Ready for an adventure that's raw, real, and totally unforgettable? Then join me, James Hammond, on my first ever guided tour of El Salvador from November 19th to 29th in 2026. We'll hike volcanoes, wander around colonial towns, learn to cook pupusas, and chill at black sand beaches. Spots are limited to 12 travellers with a minimum of 6 to book, and there's an early bird pricing of $3,995 US. That includes hotels, airport transfers, transportation, meals, and all the rest. So grab your backpack and book your spot. The link is in the description, or you can scan this QR code to book right now. Let's explore El Salvador together. See you there. Yeah, it kind of brings it back to, I met someone in India 10 years ago now, almost. And he used to be in the British Army as a cavalryman. And when I met him, he was driving from Australia to home on his motorbike, and he got to Mongolia. So he must have got to Mongolia and came down to India. And I said, why do you want to go there? He goes, well, I used to ride horses. And he said, I just want to go and ride horses in Mongolia. So he just dropped his bike off at Ulaanbaatar, got someone on some horses and just rode around the country for like a couple of months, I think. It's pretty incredible. Some of their photos were absolutely insane. But I thought, imagine riding a horse and you can do that sort of activity. That would be just the ultimate experience in Mongolia, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd heard rumors you could buy a horse for $300 at the market.
I don't think you bought one.
naturally, I was like, this sounds really cool. And like I said, I can ride a horse. I could probably pick up some camping gear and do that. So I definitely haven't ruled that out. Possibly maybe more a Kazakhstan trip now that I've kind of seen Mongolia. But 100% I would do that. I'm all up for doing kind of wild out there things. So yeah, that would be really, really a once in a lifetime trip for sure.
Yeah, he's pretty nuts, that guy, but good storyteller. I think he's Welsh, actually. Yeah, Welsh Guards, maybe. I don't know, something like that. Okay, a few more questions on Mongolia before we go on to Namibia and Botswana. I was going to say, like, locals. I was asked about locals. I know you mentioned you kind of spent time with locals, but I was going with the question here about, like, well, how are tourists seen? Are they seen as like a vital income stream for them? Is it how can I put this? Are they trying to not grab you all the time, but try and get you to buy stuff all the time? Is it like that? Is it haggle culture? How did you get the vibe of Mongolia as a tourist?
Yeah, no, not at all, actually. I mean, definitely got a few looks every now and then, like I said, especially in the airport when I turned up in flip-flops. I had people, a couple of guys come up to me and just chat and kind of ask what I'm doing here. And I was like, yeah, just holiday. And they're like, wow, like, really? Why? It's super cold. And people were just more intrigued than anything. But no, you could walk down the street. No one's trying to grab you or harass you, ask you questions. They're very chill, very relaxed people. Even in the main square in Ulaanbaatar, I had one person come up to me and show me some paintings and was very respectful and fine when I said no. But no, not like that. More just intrigued than anything. Yeah, I had a lot of guys come and chat to me. Like I had a girl come up to me in the airport and just say, yeah, what are you doing? Said, what's your plans tomorrow? I'm going for lunch with friends. Would you like to come? And yeah, I was like, cool, why not? I got no plans. So yeah, we went, we had lunch. She drove me around the city, and dropped me off at my bus the next day. So super, super friendly people.
Wow.
Well, not everyone's speaking great English, but there is an element of it, especially in the capital. But outside of that, you're going to encounter not too much. But yeah, I'd say tourism probably is a driving force there and quite important, but definitely not something that they're relying on, because I just don't think it's ever had that sort of boom for people to want to go.
Okay, and to finish, any crazy moment where you thought, I shouldn't be here? What am I doing?
Yeah, I think the bus on the way back from so the Soviet bus that I took up, same one coming back. So yeah, I was trying to come back one day and there were no buses, so just it is what it is. You stay in town and cool, I'll just stay here another night. Got picked up the next day on the same bus and didn't realize how good I had it when there's 3 people in it. So I got in the bus and yeah, you've got those kind of 2 seats facing each other, and I got in and I was like, I'm the last one in the bus. There were 4 people and a baby already facing forward. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to face backwards for 8 hours driving the whole way on those bumpy roads.
Yeah.
And then they drive around town and someone else got in. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then we drove around town, someone else got in, and then someone else got in, and then someone else got in, and someone else got in. And it got to the point where I was laughing. I had to laugh because there was no room on this bus. People would open the door and be like, and the driver would just be like shuffle, and I'm not
Oh,
joking. People think I'm exaggerating. I'm sitting like this, like with some dude on me here. By the final count was, I think, 11 adults, 3 babies, most of which were being sick at some point on the journey.
oh,
It's freezing cold. You're all puffed up in a jacket, and like just the most squashed you possibly can be. And I was like the only traveler on the bus. No one speaks English. I can kind of see the guys kind of like laughing, and we did have a good laugh. Just that communal, like, what are we all doing here? But this was just so normal for everyone else there, and I'm like, this is wild. And not only was it not 8 hours, it was 12 hours on the way back. And we left, I think we ended up getting there about 3 o'clock in the morning. It actually worked out quite well because I was so compact in, I wasn't bouncing around as much. So it
oh,
was like a
yeah.
nice seatbelt. The guy that I had no words with, I felt super close to him because he was like napping on me throughout the time. And I was just like, what am I doing? How have I got myself into this situation? Like it's so, yeah, just so ridiculous. How many people were in this bus and no one was even batting an eyelid. And full respect to everyone else on the bus, like I'd planned, and I've got my headphones, and I make sure I've downloaded a couple of podcasts or some movies or whatever. These guys just straight up sitting,
Oh, wow.
no headphones, no nothing. Mongolians aren't a particularly chatty people, is something I observed.
Yeah.
They don't chit chat. So they weren't even chatting amongst themselves. They were just, I believe the kids call it raw dogging. They were raw
Yes.
dogging
Raw dogging, yeah.
this 12-hour insane travel journey. And I was like, you guys are crazy. Because I can get through anything. I was in my happy space in my head, just like, I can get through this. This is fine. But to do it with no entertainment, insane. Full respect to them. Crazy.
Absolute mental strength. That is, yes, raw dogging. I was trying to think of the term. That's the
Yeah.
term. I think I
Like,
saw like Erling Haaland do it on a flight once. I think he done 8 hours raw dogging, but
yeah.
comfy seat, nice temperature. But yeah, not on the bus in Mongolia, is he?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, for me, it's just meditation. But
Yes, I guess so.
this
Yeah,
is what it
yeah,
is. I was like, you haven't invented something new here, guys. Like the monks have been doing this for thousands of years.
yeah.
But like, it's not a new thing.
New generation, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to dip into a different part of the world
Mm,
because I wanted to ask you about your road trip between Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe.
yeah.
This area of the world is obviously going to get the headlines for the wildlife. Was that a part of your trip, or were you more thinking just go and see the desert, the road trip itself, like, or was the wildlife the main thing?
It was, yeah. I am a sucker for a good a good wildlife safari. I knew it was going to be a new hobby of mine when I went back. When I first went to South Africa a couple of years ago, and just became obsessed. I'd never really spent a huge amount of time in that region of the world. So
Yeah.
yes, going to see. I mean, like I've grown up watching David Attenborough and Planet Earth and Life. So something like the Okavango Delta was always going to be one of those places I just had to get to. So yeah, that was a big draw for me to go there for sure.
And the logistics of this trip, is it an organized tour or is it again independent?
No, this was as a lot of my genius ideas are usually made. It's normally born over a couple of cold beers, and just getting excited about something. So actually, that first trip I did in South Africa, which was through work, I met the guide that did that trip, and we got to talking after the tours. Had a few beers, and I was like, look, I'd love to do a big road trip, maybe from like Cape Town up to Windhoek, and then go across and drive across. So we across Botswana to Zimbabwe. So we kind of sat there, and on like a piece of paper we were like, oh, that would be cool, and we just planned this trip out,
Oh, wow.
as to what we wanted to do. And I kind of already had it in my head for, it must have sat there for a year. And I guess it was such a big trip, I never really knew if it would come to fruition or not. But I think, again, I just threw it out to a couple of people, and I was like, look, this is what I think I want to do. It's going to be pretty unplanned. I will rent 4x4s. We'll get some trucks. And another non-negotiable of mine is I want the truck with the tent on top, because I think that
Top. Yeah, yeah.
And I
Classic.
want to rent a couple of those, and I want to drive here, and I want to drive back, and that's the plan. This is what I want to do. Who wants to come? And I sent it to a friend of mine, and he just sent me back. I said, "These are the dates I'm looking at. What do you think?" And he said, "Sounds good." And the next day, he sent me his flight details. I was like,
That's the kind of guy I like. Yeah, yeah,
"That's
no
not."
messing about.
And like, honestly, I remember because I had the screenshots. I said, "Do you want to do this?" He said, "Sounds good." I said, "These are the dates." And the next message was flights. Like, it was so. These are friends you need in your life.
Yeah, in
So
travel,
it
yeah.
just all rolling from there. So it ended up being 6 of us going. Thankfully with Mikkel, he is a trained guide in South Africa, so he did have a little bit of experience.
Hmm.
But other than that, no, it was very independently planned, and yeah, we planned out the route and everything we pretty much wanted to do. Generally by ourselves. We do work with a company there that gave us a few pointers,
Hmm.
and gave us a few industry discounts in a couple of places to stay.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, we were pretty much at it by ourselves.
And where was the starting point here?
So the original plan was to start in Cape Town. And we were
Oh,
going to
yeah.
drop from Cape Town up to Windhoek.
Yeah.
That is such a big drive, Windhoek in Namibia. And there's not a huge amount to see other than Fish Hook Canyon, which is one of the biggest canyons in the world. We thought it'd be better for timing. That we actually decided to fly that in the end, because even on a
Okay.
3-week schedule, it was going to be pretty tight. So we did fly into Cape Town. Um, we got a lot of bougie. We rented a villa, started there, and then flew up to Windhoek. So that's where we picked up the trucks, and we started the trip from there.
And obviously, a lot of stuff happening in 3 weeks. I'm just going to ask for some highlights,
Mhm.
probably per country. Namibia first. What was the highlight or two highlights there?
Namibia, definitely going to Sossusvlei, which took me a long time to learn how to pronounce. It's not how it
Yeah.
looks. It should be
Don't
written.
say it too wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it took me a long. I tried to explain it to the guy, and he's like, "Where?" And I was like, "This place." He's like, "Yeah, you're so far off the mark." So Sossusvlei and then Deflay, and they're kind of one and the same. It's the huge sand dunes
Yeah.
out in the Namib Desert. So yeah, really quite famous for I think it's called Big Daddy or June 45, both of which you can hike to the peak and look out over there, which is incredible.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's cool. And then you can kind of, you say hike down, it takes probably about 2 hours to go up and about 2 minutes to run down the really soft sand. And you get to the kind of like petrified forest. It probably look very similar to anyone's looks at region of the world, with the kind of like petrified trees all out in the sand. So that was really incredible to go and see that. And then we did take we took some quad bikes out through the Namib Desert and did a little bit of quad biking, which was a pretty cool way to go and explore that part of the world as well.
It's kind of on my list, Namibia. I don't know why. Maybe it's the vastness of it. It's quite sparsely populated, right, as a country?
It is, yeah. Like we started the trip there, but for the first few days we didn't see a huge amount of it. The first few days we pick up the cars and drive into Botswana, but we actually spent the majority of our time there on the way back. So went to like Etosha National Park, which was
Hmm.
wonderful. And then another highlight would be actually somewhere where we stayed up near the Botswana border. And we stayed in these kind of like tree houses that are perched over a river. And that was definitely a highlight there. We
Oh,
took
wow.
small little canoes out during the day. And
Yeah.
you kind of seeing like hippos go past and elephants and stuff up on the bank, which was wild. And then to stay there that night with like it's an open air kind of like tree house where
Mm.
you wouldn't want to fall off because you'd fall into the river where there are hippos. But it's probably one of the most magical moments of my life. I'm not gonna lie. Is laying there in this open air kind of like treehouse, with just a mosquito net, and you can hear hippos like within a stone's throw of where you are. And it's a real kind of pinch me moment. It's like, what is my life? How have I ended up here doing this? So that was a highlight for Namibia, which was an incredible spot to stay. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I've got in my mind that you might have like got up in the morning a bit early because of sunrise, maybe.
Yeah.
Got coffee on the go, and you're just watching these wildlife just come by, literally by your feet, by the tree.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
that's incredible.
Yeah, like I didn't even have to get out of bed. I could stay in bed because there's no. I mean, there were bamboo shutters you could roll down. I slept
Yeah,
with them all night. I think I barely slept because like I don't want to waste a moment like being here.
yeah.
That was like incredibly cool. So yeah, that was a real highlight of the trip as well.
Okay. And you're off to Botswana, which I think is known for having a high population of elephants and stuff, right? So I think it's one of the best
Oh, yeah.
places to see them.
Incredible. And still only a fraction of what I think it once was. But a
Okay.
huge, but still even now a huge population of elephants. I've never seen so many in one place at one time, which is was an absolute highlight of the trip to go and see there. So if you like your elephants, then yeah, absolutely a place to go and see them.
Any other highlights of Botswana? Like, what are the people like there?
Yeah, incredible. We never had a bad interaction with anyone. Everyone was
Mm,
always super friendly. Yeah, super happy. Like they want to hang out. Anyone that we did do a fair bit of driving. When we went to the Okavango Delta, we did stay in a camp in the Delta. So it's one of the few times within the trip where we actually did do a bit of an organized tour to
hmm.
get deep into the delta. So yeah, you have to do a fair bit of driving, and it's pretty soft sand. So we booked a trip there to show us around. And yeah, we had guys that were running the camp and the like cooking for us, making up the tents and taking us out driving every day. And they were just like one of the crew. They were incredible. So welcoming. They'd happily adjust the schedule to whatever we wanted to do. The service was incredible. Like really just like top quality service from anyone, and just friendly people that you'd wanna hang out with and crack a beer with. So yeah, really great interactions with everyone.
I think that's key to hear, though, isn't it? Because I think we probably have a bit of a misconception, maybe of that part of the world of being unsafe or people not very nice to you, especially if you're a white guy as well. Like, do you get like abuse? I think it's just key to like quash all those rumors and all those things. We can't say 100%, but obviously most of the time, positive interactions like you had, and also just people helping you out, making it a good time, and want to be like one of you, which is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
For Botswana, I don't actually know much about it apart from the wildlife. Was there anything else that was interesting to share about the country?
Yeah, we went. So it was actually the our friend Mikkel, the guide, that he'd had on his bucket list to stay in the salt pans in Botswana. Excuse me. And we're like, yeah, cool, that sounds good. Like this was didn't know too much about it. Like I obviously have an idea of like what the salt pans would be about, but this is really where the 4x4s and the tents kind of came into their own. And we very much went like off script, off the reservation. We were driving on a main road, and then we just took a right hand turn, like no road, and then we knew where they were. And then that's it. Yeah, you get on these salt pans, so letting the tires down a little bit, and then
Yeah,
just a complete freedom to just drive wherever you want. Like you're driving over these salt pans, and you're not really aiming for anything because it's just vast like nothingness.
yeah,
We'd see like the occasional ostrich just run across and see them, and we were just like, like I said, I love a road trip, and we were just like kids, just bombing it across these 4x4, and it's perfectly fine and legal to go there. And yeah, we were just driving, having a good time, and it's kicking up so much dust behind us, and we're just playing with each other, driving around, and just enjoying the vast expanse of nothing. And yeah, played around until we picked a decent spot to camp for the night, and yeah, we set up camp. Like we had a frisbee, so we played with that for a bit, and just waiting for the sun to go down. And oh my god, the stars
oh yeah,
is like nothing you've seen before in your life.
unrivaled. Yeah,
Like that, you've got the perfect sunset going down right in front of you. Yeah, we made a fire. We're cooking burgers and just cracking beers. It's just one of those times in your life that's just like everyone needs to do this. This is your
yeah.
sign, anyone watching or listening, to get the crew together and go camping in Botswana in the salt flats. Because yeah, not only are you getting like just the cleanest view of the Milky Way you've ever seen, but then stars. Like I've never seen stars to the horizon like I've seen.
Mm.
that. It was absolutely insane. Um, and then just, yeah, like a real once in a lifetime experience. And then to wake up there as well with nothing around, and just to be like, we are just in the middle of Africa right now.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows where we are. It's just us. We're hanging out. And you just camping out there in the middle of it. Was unreal. So that was a big highlight of Botswana as well.
God, sounds incredible. What time
Yeah.
of year is this? Because I guess weather does play a part, right?
Yeah, we went in September, October time.
Okay.
Around about there, which we picked to be good for, because you want to kind of time it with your game viewing, right? If that's what you want
Yes.
it to go for. So yeah, like there's like, because there's rainy season and then not rainy season, and then it can be quite confusing because you want to go, you don't want to go when it's fully wet, and you think,
Mm,
like, because when there's a lot of water and a lot of rivers, and there's a lot of like grassland everywhere, all over, then animals are super spread out. Like
yeah.
they go wherever, they go back to their territory, and it's very hard for game viewing. You go in the slightly drier season, and it's a much more condensed region where everything is going to be, and
Mm.
you just we got. I mean, our driver, our guide, had a saying: "What nature provides, you will receive," and that kind of came our you never know what you're going to see. If anyone's not been or done a safari before, you do have to go with an open mind, because you can't just expect to see things.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah.
It, it,
Yeah.
it's not a zoo. It's not whatever. Like, whatever you see that day is what you see. And sometimes, sometimes nature doesn't provide it, but my God, nature provided for us. We got very lucky with what we were seeing. And yeah, we were giddy. I think that's the best word with it. We
Mm,
were just giddy with excitement about what you can see. So yeah, September, October, definitely a good time to go, for everything. Yeah, not too hot, not too cold. Like, it definitely dipped at night, which was quite nice. So you get a good
yeah.
night's sleep, and then during the day, windows down, or just crank a little bit of AC in the truck, and you'll be fine. But really, really perfect weather. So yeah, I'd highly recommend that time of year.
God, sounds incredible. On the
Mhm.
list. Okay. I'm going to dip into Zimbabwe. You went to Vic Falls, which is
Yeah,
obviously an iconic thing to see.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was kind of like the kind of, I guess, end point before we need to
Yeah.
just
To
turn
turn back.
around and double back on ourselves. So yeah, we had yeah, quite probably the most interesting border crossings I've ever done in my life.
Oh,
Um
okay.
yeah, we went up, and we're like, oh, a friend of ours, Mikkel, he's like, oh, I know a good one. It's nice and quiet. All good. So yeah, we get to the border crossing. And this was after the night in the salt flats, actually. So we had cracked into a few beers, and a little bit of wine, and cheap wine as well. So a lot of people were actually feeling quite ropey this day, and a little bit hungover, because it was very cheap wine. So that's cool. I feel fine. I haven't really been drinking much, so I'll drive. We go to the border. Now, bear in mind, a lot of the guys I went with, we work in tourism. We're supposed to be professionals at traveling. We
Yeah.
get to the border, no one's got any cash, and we just kind of assume that we'll have a pay card, maybe. Um, and the guy's like, no, 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 like, you have to pay everything in cash. So we're desperately trying to get together. And we're from all over the world. So um, Michael's trying to pay in Aussie dollars, Isaac's trying to pay in Canadian, Mikhail's trying to pay in Rand. I've got some pounds and just everything. We're like, collectively, is this enough to pay for the board? The guy's like, no. It's like, you got to go back to town, which is like a 20-minute drive away. And we're just like, oh, how have we not thought ahead? Like, all right, I'll drive back into town where the nearest ATM is. We go back into town. I get out, and more than enough money, come back to the border crossing. And I get there, and everyone's just looking at me, and I'm like, what? And he's like, how much money did you get? And I was like, well, I got the amount that he told us, whatever it was. And he's like, oh, he's just informed us we have to pay the tax on the vehicles as well. I was like, well, I didn't get enough money up for that. So I had to drive back into town again, come all the way back it, and do that. It was just like, it was one of those laughable moments that we really just wanted to get over the border. And just driving back and forth in like no man's land between Botswana and Zimbabwe. When we did get across the border, the road again just kind of stopped, and we're on a
Oh,
dirt
okay.
track. for
Yeah.
miles and miles. Just seeing the odd giraffe go past and things like that. So, yeah, that was certainly an interesting crossing. But yeah, we did ultimately get to Victoria Falls, which is, yeah, was amazing. Probably one of the more, as you can imagine, a bit more built up, a little bit more caters towards tourists.
Yeah.
Being over there, so that was incredible to go and see, and again, a good time of year if you want to go and see the falls, because it can be very much one way or the other. Lots and lots of water coming over, and you're going to get a lot of spray kicking up.
Yeah.
You're
Hmm.
not actually going to see a huge amount, and you probably will get drenched. Or very much dry season where you're not seeing a huge amount of water actually coming off. We saw probably about in the middle, which was a good
Perfect.
good amount of time of year to go.
Okay, awesome. So that's plenty of inspiration for that road trip. I keep saying this, but that is actually on our list as well. That road trip you just did there,
Yeah.
Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe. I've got a friend who owns a game reserve in Zimbabwe, so I need to go and see him. I used to
Okay.
work with him, well, live with him in Australia. So yeah,
Yeah.
he loves his animals. So yeah, that's kind of that belt is on the list, and
Yeah.
South Africa as well, which you went to, which looks incredible as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. I had a few days in South Korea before Mongolia. So.
Crazy. Okay, and what about the last part of the show, Lost in Paradise? So tell me, this is new since I last spoke to you. So what is the concept? What is the product? And what do you want to tell people why they may want to get to know it and where they can find it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Lost in Paradise is something that I kind of had in my head for a long time, and it was going to be a variation of different things. And yeah, I'd always kind of changed my mind. I knew I wanted to give back to the travel community in some way. It's something that
Hmm.
I've always been involved in. Travel has just been a huge part of my life, in yeah, personally and professionally. I've worked in travel, I've worked in tourism for the best part of 10 years now. And it's something that throughout my time in that I see a recurring problem come up every now and then, and it was fully triggered actually earlier this year, January 1st. I was with actually a lot of the crew that I did Namibia and Botswana with. We went to Budapest,
Oh yeah.
and New Year's Eve. We're having a great time, and we come home from the club 3-4 o'clock in the morning to find someone in our Airbnb kind of ransacking the place.
Oh wow. Huh.
Yeah, ran away. Luckily didn't get away with too much, just a friend of mine's bag. Unfortunately, one of her, it was her first time sort of traveling. So we
Oh
spent January 1st running around trying to deal with police, trying to organize everything that she'd lost, which was obviously, as you can imagine, bank cards and documents, and
yeah.
unfortunately her passport in the bag as well.
Hmm.
So we're running around. It's next day. All our travel plans have been completely thrown out the window. We're trying to deal with embassies. We're trying to call home. We're trying to deal with the rest of their trip because they were due to travel a lot more of Europe.
Yep.
And the main, like, bank cards we can deal with. That's not a big deal. We can cancel them. She's got them on her phone. A few other things, not the end of the world. But I was like, getting the passport back was the main problem here.
Yes.
And I was just wandering around like this just seems ridiculous to me that with the technology we have now, why do we not have a way to track a passport? Why can
Exactly.
we not
Yeah.
our most important travel document
Yeah.
that we all freak out about? And there's like, where's your passport? Where's your passport? Have you got your passport? Like, how many times do we check it when we're at the airport? How many times do you check it before you leave home? Um, so I was like, we need to find a way to track this. So what I've done is I've created a passport wallet that has GPS capabilities in it. Um,
Ah,
so I
awesome.
have one just here
Yeah.
as it happens.
Yeah.
So branded quite nicely with a map and a compass, Lost in Paradise on the back. And yeah, fits all your travel documents there. So
Oh, that's
um,
great. Huh.
this is something that, yeah, I'm and again in the industry that I'm in, I work with travelers from all over the world in the travel company that I work for, and at least at least once a month, if not more. We have someone that will have lost or misplaced, or the passport's gone missing, or it's got damaged. And I'm just like, look,
Mm.
this is a problem that is easily solvable, and one that yeah, I think everyone should consider having. Just like as you do have travel insurance, this is a way to ensure your passport stays safe and you can find it. So yeah, it connects. At the moment, it only works with iPhones, but you can connect it straight to your iPhone. It works
Hmm.
with the Find My iPhone app, and it will remind you if you've left it behind, if you've lost it. It shows up on your phone. You can track it. You can make it make a noise in case
Mm.
you can't find it in your bag, or you've lost
Yeah.
it in a dark hotel room, or you've lost it down a street or a back alley somewhere there. So yeah, this is
Huh.
something that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, that's kind of blown me a little bit. Yeah, blown my mind. Yeah. I don't really understand. Maybe it's a compliance thing. You think like that our passports nowadays, they can go through those scanners, right, in the airport. I guess if they start tracking where the airport goes, I know they can see it entry and exit. I get that. But I guess if they start tracking your every movement, that could cause a few problems. But you're right. If you lose your passport, it's a nightmare. It's actually one of the reasons why it sounds a bit extreme. I'm now a citizen in Canada, so I've got two passports. I'm like,
Okay.
if I ever lose one, I've got a second one to fall back on, and it's a real
Yeah.
legitimate issue, right? Like you
Yeah.
say, people ransacking your bag, nicking your bag, you just lose it. It happens, and I think the admin that requires to get that back or get a document or a permit to go on or back home, it
Yeah.
just seems like a crazy nightmare. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to go through that.
Yeah, a lot of people I've seen trips just get disrupted. Yeah, you apply for emergency passports, you got to go home,
Yeah,
and yeah, you just got to change so much. Like, I mean, even buying a new passport now in the UK, I think what 160 quid, 170 quid maybe
yeah,
for
it's
the bigger one.
scandalous. Yeah.
And then yeah, you got to get travel insurance involved, yeah, and not only that, you
Mm.
just yeah, for the financial loss of it, and not to mention the time off work, the money you've saved, and everything for a potential disrupted trip. Now, in that particular instance in Budapest, her passport did actually get found.
Oh,
Uh, it got found about a week later, 2 blocks away, so it wasn't far. So the person
mm.
had gone through their bag. They, they don't have a huge, unless you're a mastermind criminal or part of organized crime, probably. Her passport's not good to the common thief, so they just discard it. We could have easily tracked that with this
Yeah.
wallet and found it straight away, and possibly even still tracked the thief of doing that. Now, of course, passports need to be removable. So yeah, that it's not the most protected potentially against theft, but it is quite a subtle design. No one's going to know that the passport is trackable. But it's more for your sort of day-to-day people leaving it in the hotel safe, maybe it falling out of your bag, or putting it somewhere. It's very easily found again.
That's great. And can you tell the listeners and viewers where they can find that and where they can buy it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us at lostinparadisetravel.com. The website's set up and ready to go. And yeah, we're due to that. We're taking pre-orders now, which has been great. The first shipment is on its way to the UK as we speak, and should
Hmm.
be launched fully in time for Christmas. So yeah, you can grab them on lostinparadise.com. Lostinparadisetravel.com. And then we'll soon be set up on places like TikTok Shop, and you can of course follow our socials on Instagram, Lost in Paradise Travel, on Instagram as well.
And does that ship worldwide at the minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I can send all over. So yeah, hopefully in time for Christmas, and I can get orders out depending on where they go. But I'm very happy to ship worldwide, no problem.
Great. Well, I'll put the links in the show notes so people can access that. That's a great product. I didn't expect to hear that today, so that's a nice surprise. So, and kudos to you for getting that going, because I think there's actually, so many products are there and you think they're nice, aren't they? Like
Yeah.
nice to have. This is actually a need. I think people need this. So this is a cool thing you've done here.
Yeah, I mean, I see people just with passport wallets all the time, and especially our British ones. The gold scratches off so easy, and it comes away on the front cover, so it sort of protects that, keeps it safe as well. So, yeah, it's pretty cool design, and you keep everything in there as well. So, yeah, what I'll try and do, I'll leave you one in Bangkok for when you arrive, and you can get your hands and have a feel for it, and yeah, try it out. Let me know what you think. I'll be happily get your feedback, James.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah,
That'd be very
absolutely.
kind of
Yeah.
you. Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, Mark, it's been great to see you again. And it's been a while, probably too long actually. I
Yeah.
enjoy speaking to you. You've got lots of great stories. You speak really well, and you travel a lot, which is my kind of guy, really. So I appreciate coming back on the podcast. Thanks for asking to come back on. It's my fault for not asking you back on. And next time I'll get you on for another chat from wherever you've been in the world.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll make it work somewhere sometime, and we'll actually catch up for a beer. Because yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun. So no, been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me back. And yeah, appreciate your time.
Cheers, did appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, mate. Take it easy.